Troy Banks here. Got Kevin Saenz here today. We just want to talk a little baseball. Played with him in Trenton in the MLB Draft League. He played for many well-renowned schools, and he knows what it means to get a scholarship and play baseball at a high level. So I'm happy to have him on here today. How we doing, Kev?
Doing great. It's good to catch up and just talk a little bit about our careers. So let's
Absolutely,
do it.
man. Absolutely. So what's your latest with playing and coaching? Tell us a little bit about that. I know you're doing a lot of stuff with Stay Hot Baseball, so let me hear about that.
Yeah, so just currently training every day, staying consistent in the gym, paying attention to my diet, and just getting on the phone really. Being able to make my own network. As you know, this game is about relationships and just meeting, handshaking the right guys and being proactive because nothing's going to come to me, So finished up with the Oakland Ballers. Was on reserve with the club in the bullpen. Great experience there. Oakland fans are amazing. A lot of ruckus going on in the stands, and just it was really cool being able to see guys local, the talent that comes from all over the country, and Oakland definitely has a place there to explore your career. So
Nice,
currently
man.
working with kids. I got kids going full time twice a week, and we got winter league tournaments coming up, and just giving back to the kids, man.
Nice, nice. To touch on your playing career, you mentioned shaking hands. Obviously, it's great to be a part of the Ballers and what they have going on. It's close to you where you are, and your family can come support you, all that good stuff. But shaking hands, um, I know that's important, and but everybody needs to know it's important and why it's important because there's not a lot of guys or girls that are maybe like you, where they'll go and they'll shake a coach's hand. But how much do you think that plays a role in getting what you want?
Yeah, it's a good input there. I'd say it has everything to do with how they're judging your character, being outspoken. A lot of these guys want leaders, and guys that take initiative and go out of their way to get what they want. And obviously, performing at a high level with pressure, just being able to be confident in your ability and just well-rounded as an individual kind of dictates your performance on and off the field. So I'd say, yeah, just shaking hands, making sure you're establishing relationships, not burning bridges, um, and just surrounding yourself with people that are going to benefit you in the long run, you know. So
Yeah,
I'd say
yeah.
that's
You
huge.
never know who's going to be that person for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. And
So
like
you
you,
got
for
to just
example, I mean, there's a huge example. Like you could be at a park and let's just say a guy's checking you out and you're taking ground balls and he's been there for an hour. Letting that guy kind of just watch you or going out of your way and just introducing yourself,
yeah,
that could be the next guy getting you to the next level, but you won't know until you go find out. You gotta take risk in this game and be okay with being uncomfortable, I'd say. At a young age, 15 and 16, when you go to showcases, I was taught by my father to go shake some hands. And it just shows maturity, and it gets people to kind of maybe they look at you a little extra at your showcase because you went out of your way to shake their hand. Maybe you make a dabbing play and he remembers, oh, that guy came out and he shook my hand before this workout. Where does he go to school at? Is he committed? How are
yeah,
his grades? That kind of plays a factor in a lot of things. So
yeah. That's what the youth does need to know that is real. A lot of the opportunities that myself and Kevin have gotten have been from shaking hands and putting ourselves out there, even though sometimes it may be uncomfortable. You'll get to a point where it's not uncomfortable anymore, and it'll be in your favor.
yeah.
That's great points. So, with the kids that you work with, has that ever happened to you where you see a kid on the field, they come up to you, "Hey, Coach Kev, thank you for the practice today. Thanks for the work." One of the biggest things that
Right.
I do, I throw BP a lot to kids, and the ones that come up to me after and say, "Yo, thanks for throwing BP," you're like, "Who's that?" I'm gonna stick my neck out for you in future events because of that one little thing. That's all it takes. What's your input on that?
Right. Right. I mean, we tell the kids every time a coach, after every practice, every workout, I ask that the kids look the coaches in the eye and shake their hands, firm handshake, because they're going out of their way and they're devoting their time to give back to you. And you just want to show appreciation to that. Again, that comes down with relationships, maybe opportunities that may open for you as a young player because
Yeah,
you do go and shake hands and you are different than the average um, individual. So,
yeah. Any
um,
way to separate yourself,
yes, sir.
really, at the end of the day. That's what it is. And it even happens
Right,
at our level. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But that's one tidbit that the youth has got to know, and that's great points. Um, so with the kids that you work with, um, obviously that's great that you're giving them all that information because they need to know that. What have you seen from your players that sticks out with the way kids work nowadays, right? That you maybe grew up with coaches that were tough on you and you responded well to that. How have you learned the happy medium with the kids nowadays?
Right. Just I would say being more player to player versus coach to player, establishing a friendship first has allowed the kids to play loose. You know, they enjoy coming to practice. They look forward to getting better. They know that it's gonna suck sometimes, and just kind of having that approach with the kids that, you're gonna strike out. You're gonna make errors. You're gonna fail. You're gonna go through mental adversity, and it's just about how you respond to that. And truly, like growing up, my father was hard on me, and he asked for a lot. He expected a lot, and the way I responded was with my bat. To keep him quiet, I just found the barrel, and it kind of I developed some pressure at a young age to deal with pressure when your moment presents itself. That coach asking you to do something and you responding to it. That's adversity. It's a little bit of adversity, especially if you're learning, especially if you're trying to cut out the bad habits that you've had before. Being coachable plays a huge factor in responding to adversity. So
Yeah,
I say that that's a huge thing that the youth can benefit from is just anticipating to fail.
yeah,
You're going to. It's inevitable, and I feel like kids put too much pressure on themselves, but don't focus in responding. They focus in the load. You know, they're so consumed by what's in front instead of how they're going to respond to what's in front. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's just awesome. It's awesome to be able to give back real game experiences, like down 0-2 with the bases loaded in a championship game. Are you able to remove yourself from the moment and dig deep and just think about your hard work, think about your cage work,
Yeah.
think about your routine, think about your process. Stuff like that plays a huge factor in performing when your moment starts. So
Yeah, that's why it's important to have a routine and find things that are familiar. When you're in those big moments, it's easy to get lost in them. You know what I'm saying? You have to
yeah,
revert back to old success. You have to revert back to old work in the cage. Oh, I hit a bomb off this exact pitch. I'm looking for this because I'm confident that I can do it again. It's a great point. Um, Another thing that I wanted to touch on was the coachability. Uh, Players being coachable. That also has to do with life. You know what I'm saying? If you get to a job and you don't look for the good people that are performing in that workspace, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You got to be asking questions. How do I get to the next level? Stick your neck out, and nobody knows that better than you. So that's very good stuff. Um, with the travel ball space, we're both in it. What are you seeing nowadays in terms of importance and what a parent or player should look for? What is important to these kids? And obviously, it's relative to what they want in their career. But what do you think is important?
I think they should look for people that are passionate. I think they should look for people that have gone through the game with experience. Um, Obviously, real game situations is probably the best feedback you can give a kid. But if you're playing for a program or you're seeking a program, I'd say parents, what position did the coach play? How many years did he play? Like that plays a factor. If this guy's a pitcher, right, and you're investing in a program where the owner was a pitcher and they have a staff of pitchers, well, your son's a shortstop. It's like, to what extent are you seeking development? Is it more for the kid and their confidence levels, or is it specific? Like, is it their arm slot? Is it their lateral movement? Where are you seeking mentorship in your child's career? I feel like a lot of parents nowadays are trying to do what's more convenient for them versus what's going to actually benefit their kid, you know,
Hmm.
because what's convenient is you can carpool. What's convenient is, oh, little Timmy's in his class, his third grade class, his fifth grade class. So they want their kids to be around their friend group. But to what extent? Like, are those kids A players, double A players? Are they triple A players? Are they working on and
Yeah.
off the field? That's the type of environment that parents should seek, depending on where they invest. So I just think, to be clear, ultimately your son or daughter is their best coach. You're gonna have a lot of coaches in your career, but how the kid retains information with that coach is the most important, because that coach can't feel what it's like to have a bat in that kid's hand. That
Hmm.
kid feels it. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, you know, overcoaching is a real thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I see a lot of that nowadays. And um, at the end of the day, I will say I'm going to add a little bit more. Um, Everything, I hear a lot of parents talk about, oh, it's a money grab, right? Everything in life is a money grab. And it's what you're putting into it, right? Are you getting your money's worth? That's the difference. Are you getting your money's worth? And, I just feel like for example, these pro showcases, you've been to many of those, right? Like we both go to these, and you spend $500 to get put in front of six scouts or seven scouts. And if you go 1 for 3 with a single and make a standard play, that's not good enough. But going 3 for 4 with two doubles and a diving play, that plays. You got your
Yeah.
money's worth. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna kind of seal the deal there. But just being ready to perform.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, lot of good points there. Um, it's really about, if you're gonna get into travel ball, you just do it. If we're gonna do this thing, let's do it. That's kind of what we're talking about here. Like, there's a lot of what really is a money grab is if something is delivering a promise that can't be upheld. That's what that is. Now
yeah, like
somebody
over
that
promising and
under delivering straight up.
yeah,
So the information that you have accrued throughout your career, along with myself, that's information that people should know. This is what professional baseball looks like. This is what college baseball looks like. You know what I mean? If you're going to pay a whole bunch of money and not get anything in return, that's where the problem lies. Now, if you're
yeah,
getting information, okay, we're going to go to this tournament. You guys are getting old enough to start looking at colleges. We're going to really get in front of these schools because Kevin knows these coaches. That's worth every penny.
yeah,
And that's kind of what we're getting at here is that's what to look for in these programs. Now,
yes,
that's obviously for a different level of players than maybe some other parents might be trying to um, put their kids in front of, like programs. But at the end of the day, if what you want is to be a collegiate baseball player and get a scholarship, there's no stone that you should leave unturned for that. Straight up.
yeah. I mean, it's just like the saying. It's like, if you're surrounded by six millionaires, constantly, there's a good chance you might be the seventh one. If
That's
you're
how it
around
is.
college, if you're around college guys all the time, it's safe to say you may play at the college level. I mean, it's just like look at Dusty Baker. His son, Darren Baker, has been on a big league field since he was 5 years old. When JT Snow grabbed him from the plate in a NLCS game,
Yeah.
that kid was been around high level baseball since he could walk. And guess what? He's in the big leagues. He's getting his
Yeah.
debut. So
Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Same thing.
it's
Bo Bichette,
yeah,
all these guys. Why are they all actually in the big leagues when their dad was a big leaguer? Because they know what it takes. You know what I'm saying? They
yes,
they they
yes.
know how to
Not
walk.
because
They
it's his
know how.
daddy, right?
No,
Because they had to go put in the work. They had to go put in the work, and they see what hard work is at a high level at a young age, and that's all they've ever known. And guess where they're at? You know.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. And then there's no hate on like coaches of a certain caliber, but they I think that a higher level coach should attract higher level players, and
hundred
that's the
percent.
yeah.
And honestly, it's like what's most engaging for kids, right? Like when you were a kid, you go to a big league game. What are you trying to get?
A baseball.
You're trying to get a baseball. You're trying to get an autograph, and you don't even know what work or what sacrifices those players had to do to get there. That they're just in between the lines. That's it. That's all you care about, and that's all the kids want. And I feel like there needs to be more pro guys giving back to kids. A lot of pro guys will have a long career, and then they get into a tech company, they make good money, very successful, but how many years of failing, how many years of succeeding, prior to
Could
that
they
end
share with
all?
others?
Exactly. And it's just like, it's like what good is a good swing if you don't know how to use it, right? What good is a great career in the big leagues if you're not giving back?
Mm,
It's like you do all that for what? It's like it's more about like, really trying to share the love of the game, the passion of the game, the grit, the hard work, the sweat, the tears, the blood, all of that. Really, like kids could benefit from hearing testimonies. And I feel
yeah.
like guys like you, guys like myself, other guys, it really takes a village to really make the change because, there's a lot of people, a lot of parents that want to give their kids a platform, maybe because they don't have guys like us. So they go and they form teams and they put teams together and then they go play. Well, it's like, that's where we come in. That's where our generation has a chance to really change the game as far as kids staying away from, the streets, getting into trouble, you know, not showing up to class, talking back to their parents. Like those are things, life lessons that we can offer these kids to better shape their lives versus them on the field, So there's so much more that you can benefit from with networking with guys that have gone through it than just baseball. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's probably the value when you see a company with, experience is that, you know, we're mentoring your kids,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Because if you don't have enough experience, you're limited. You can only give back so much. Like if you don't know what it's like to get hit by a 100 miles per hour fastball, you can't really tell the kid to wear it,
Exactly.
like it's just like, oh, you wear it, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so
Yeah.
it's just hilarious. And then sometimes like, I'll see guys, I'll be at a clinic or a class or maybe a park, and I see someone instructing kids, and they're like, hey, throw it straight. Well, and
It's
you say
deeper
it
than
over
that.
and over and over again. Yeah, how? Well, not one
Stay
time do you
back.
hear about them
It's
staying in
deeper
their
than that.
legs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not one time have you heard, you know, a mental cue. Like, not one time have you heard them talk about their legs and how they're grounding in the floor, right?
Yeah.
You don't hear about tucking your glove and how it helps your front side deliver your release point a little bit easier, right? But if they don't have experience, those little details, those little cues aren't there. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's where, seeking the right people with the credentials plays a factor in the knowledge you're gaining. So
Yeah. 100%, dude. 100%. Like the term stay back, that should only be said if we've worked on that. Why do we do that? Why does that happen?
yeah,
Because I could run a 3 hour hitting lesson on just staying back. Why it's important, how to do it. And that's what's necessary. So
right.
great points, man. Great points. Anything else you
Hey,
got?
honestly, just um, staying faithful to God. When you feel you don't, when you feel you're out, you're in. You know, and because God says so. And it's just more about at a young age, what's helped me. What I realized at a young age is that I had baseball as an outlet, as an expression of my faith. I felt like it was a passion God gave me, and it was day in and day out, no matter what happened in life. The hard stuff is life. Baseball is the easy stuff. But when you go to that field, you're able to kind of unplug, and whatever situation you have at home, you're able to kind of leave it there and work on yourself in this area, and it makes you feel good. And that's what I will say is that understand that what you do is for God, and God's given you an opportunity to relieve some of that hardships in life, by playing the game you love. So that's the one thing that I would leave
Yep.
from this topic for sure.
Couldn't have said it better myself, man. Faith in the Lord, faith in your work, faith in everybody around you. It's just faith, man. That's the big meaning of this whole thing. And hey, I appreciate your time and all the best to stay hot baseball and your career furthering. Let's talk soon.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
thanks,
do it
man.
again, man. Let's just keep
Yeah,
these going. Yep. Take
appreciate it.
care.